Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome to a live edition of the Hawksbeat Podcast. I'm your host, Edub, taking you on another journey of Atlanta Hawks basketball, and it's here, y'all. It's here. It's time to stop talking preseason and start talking regular season. Um, I haven't done a live broadcast in a while. Let me stop. Let me stop. I just did one like a week ago with my guy, with my guy Emmanuel. But anywho, we are talking a little Hawks basketball before the season kicks off. We're talking some extensions, and we're going to take a look at just kind of a brief preview of the game versus Charlotte, which is game one. I know, I'm excited, right? Game one is going to be Wednesday. Wednesday in Charlotte. I was going to go cover that game, but I just got too much going on. But I will be in the building on Friday night when they take on the New York Knickerbockers, and hopefully they will send all those New Yorkers and their Timberlands and their their bubble vests, send them home crying. But first things first, man. If you're new to the show, make sure you are following the show on all of our social media platforms. You can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Hawksbeat. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're even on TikTok now, right? Yeah, we're even on TikTok. So go ahead and give us a follow there. We would greatly appreciate it, as well as subscribe to the pod, drop us 5 stars. You guys know how we do. All the podcasts say the same thing. We are no different. So let's go ahead and get into the proceedings this evening. Before I preview the game on Wednesday, I want to just kind of get through a little bit of particulars that went down this evening, right? So the other day that the Hawks announced that they extended on the rookie contracts, they extended Jalen Johnson and AJ Griffin, which is pretty much a no-brainer. We kind of knew that was coming. So that just means you lock up your young guys a little bit longer before they have to hit restricted free agency. Again, kind of a no-brainer. We all kind of knew that was going on. So salute to those guys for getting locked up another year and getting their extensions. The big news today, though, was the extension of Onyeka Okongwu. It was announced maybe 30 minutes before the deadline. The Hawks extended out Onyeka on a 4-year, 4-year, $62 million contract. Now, I have my thoughts on that, but I'll kind of just I'll wait before I kind of speak on that, because I do have my thoughts on that specific contract. But congrats to Big O, got his money. And again, hey, 62 million is nothing to sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to sneeze at. So congrats to that man and his family. It's got to be a beautiful thing getting that second contract in the NBA, because it's not always guaranteed. But everybody who knew anything about Hawks basketball knew Onyeka was going to get his bag. So a name that didn't pop up was Saddiq Bey. Now, Saddiq Bey didn't get his contract done, so the Hawks, if they want to retain him, they'll probably have to do it through restricted free agency. I don't know if that's going to be a problem, if that's going to cause a problem with Saddiq, how bad he really wanted to get it done. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you this, though. Everybody else in that class got paid. But I look at I think the Hawks made a smart decision, though. I think the Hawks made a smart decision by locking up Okongwu. And so I wrote down some thoughts, and the first thing that I thought was this: when you look at them giving the money to Okongwu, the first thing I thought was, well, Clint's days are numbered. Clint's days are numbered, right? And here's the thing. Is Clint a top tier center in this league? He probably is. I would say I would be hard pressed to name 10 centers better than Clint Capella. I mean, for what he does rebounding, he's a really good rim runner. He's a top 5 rebounder. He covers a lot defensively, but he is getting older. And the thing with centers, you want to. This don't sound good, but you don't want to get caught behind the 8 ball with the center. because they don't get healthier as the season goes along, as their careers go along. So you got to kind of make a move while making a move is to be made, right? So I just, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm not reporting on anything. I saw some people saying that maybe now this is a case where Clint can come off the bench. Maybe Onyeka Okongwu can play the 4. And while I'm not saying that those ideas aren't possible, I just don't think they're likely. I just don't think they're likely. Onyeka Okongwu would tell you he's always been a center. Like he's never been a power forward. I know they experimented a little bit with that at the College Park game in the preseason. Maybe there will be some packages with him playing the 4, but I just don't see it like as a full-time thing or a regular part of in the rotation. He's a center. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit undersized, but he's a center. He'll tell you he's a center. So I just think you got Clint Capella. He's got 2 years left in his contract. He's getting paid $20 million this year, and he's getting paid $22 million next year. So do you make a deal for Clint and, give that money to Sadiq and free agency? I don't know. Like there's a lot of things there's a lot going on with the money here, right? But I just think from what and this is my personal belief, I just believe his days are numbered. I doubt Clint Capella makes it through the season as an Atlanta Hawk. And that's just kind of a money thing. I think they learned the lesson with John Collins. It's like, hey, you got to pull the trigger while pulling the trigger is good, What does that mean for Bruno? Do they make a move for Clint and get a backup center in return? I don't know. I think you have, if nothing else, you have options. And I will say this, you don't necessarily have to move Clint, right? So hear what I'm saying? Like you don't have to move him, but it would kind of be better if you did, right? From a money standpoint, right? Because you always want to have a little bit of flexibility going forward. So that was my first thought when I saw Onyeka in his contract. The second thing was, is this boy okay? Like $62 million. Listen, that boy left a lot of bread on the table. Like he left a lot of bread on the table. I gotta shout out my guy Logan of Hawks Talks Podcast. He sent out a tweet this afternoon. Says, "Yo, I just feel it." What did he say? He said, "I feel it. A deal's gonna get done with the Okongwu." He tweeted it like maybe like sometime this afternoon. He said something about I feel that the Hawks are gonna get a deal done with the Okongwu. I think he said 4 years, 71. And the 471 felt like good. I was like, nah, man, no way they're gonna sign up for 71. I'm thinking in my mind, like, yo, man's just gonna get at least 80, like 80 to 90, like on this joint. Like he could have easily got 80 to 90 on this, right? And so I laughed at it. I gave him the Cream Biggins shooting his shot thing. I was like, yo, man, 72. I was laughing not because I didn't think a deal could get done. I was like, there's no way they're gonna sign up for 71. Like, yo, 71, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. He gonna at least get 80, 90 something. Like off top, he gonna get at least 80, 90 something. And then when the deal broke and they said he signed for 62, I was like, oh my God. Like, do you understand what everybody else in his draft class was getting? Let me see if I have it pulled up. Let me just go through some of the guys. And again, we knew he wasn't going to get that max money, right? So we're looking at his draft class, right? We knew he wasn't going to get the money like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton. We knew he wasn't going to get that 5 years, $260 million. Like we knew he wasn't going to get that. We knew he wasn't going to get Desmond Bane money, 5 years, 207. But here's the thing, guys. Devin Vassell of the Spurs got 5 years, 146. Previously, like I think it was either today or yesterday, Jaden McDaniels got 5 years, 136. Bruh, Jaden McDaniels averages like 9 points, like 4 rebounds, and he got 136 over 5 years. Like, I mean, again, that I'm not gonna get in that man's pocket. I swear I'm not gonna get in that man's pocket. but he left a lot of bread on the table. That's what he wants to do. More power to him. More power to him. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. I'm glad he got his bread. 6 mil. Ain't nothing to sneeze at. But I'm just saying, looking at the totality of everybody in his draft class, whoo-wee boy. But hey, I'm glad O's going to be in the fold for at least the next 4 years, hopefully. I'm looking forward to bigger and better things. I hope he has a great season, and we'll leave it at that, right? We'll leave it at that. So, yeah, so they get deals done with the young guys. Unfortunately, they didn't get one done with Sadiq Bey. And I just feel that maybe they felt that going into restricted free agency, that was kind of the move they made. And that's what it is, right? That's what it is. So, uh, congrats, man. Congrats. All right, I'll leave it at that. Congrats. What else? What else? What else? I think that's it as far as the contracts and the transactions were concerned. Hawks, again, they're kicking off their season this Wednesday in Charlotte, taking on the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to kind of look at that just briefly. Friday night, they take on the Knicks, and then I think Sunday they take on the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's quite a start for the Hawks. Quite a start for the Hawks. They're going to get an early look at Giannis, early look at a new, I guess, a new improved Knicks team. They didn't really make that many moves. You know, they added White Dante and they got rid of Obi Toppin. But I don't know, man. We're going to see. But I will say this. And we'll kind of shift gears here, looking into the Charlotte Hornets game. This year for these Atlanta Hawks, this needs to be a statement year for this Hawks team. Here's what I'm saying. This needs to be a statement year for this Hawks team. And I know it's kind of quasi year 2 of Quinn. It's kind of year 1 of his first, full season. But last year, this team was the epitome of mid. Like they were the epitome of mid. You win one game, you lose one. You win 3, you lose 3. Everything always evened out. And for the money that these dudes was getting paid, for the money that was getting paid on this roster, nah, middle of the road is not acceptable. It was not acceptable last year, and it damn sure ain't acceptable this year. And so I think that this year, this team needs to come out with a chip on their shoulder, man. Like, I think they need to play with a chip on their shoulder all season long. No more of this, the regular season's boring stuff. I know I'm bringing it up, but let's keep it a stat. Like, no more of this, regular season's boring, and taking these teams who they should beat for granted. Because last year, listen, I'm going to keep it a stack with you. They had some ugly losses. Like, I was in Houston when they lost that game to the Rockets. I remember the game when they lost to the Spurs. I remember last season when they lost to Charlotte without LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier. They let some dude, I forget his name, a cat off the bench, went for like 25. Like, nah, like you can't be that team this year. Like, you simply can't be that team this year. Like, you want to take that step. You're a playoff team. You're not a playing team. You're gonna have to show it. Like, every game. Like, every game's got to be a playoff game. Like, ain't no, this is boring stuff. You got to take it for real. And it starts with Charlotte. It starts with Charlotte. Because last year, they was 1-3 against the Hornets. 1-3 against a team that won 27 games. 27 games last year. Like, come on. You know what I mean? And one of them losses was bad. Like, they didn't have LaMelo. They didn't have Terry Rozier, man. Like, that was a bad loss last season. So, I don't know if the mindset needs to change or maybe, I don't know. You can't go 1-3 against a 27-win ball club. Now, granted, here's the thing. I think that Charlotte will be better this year. So we're looking at Charlotte. You got to look at the things that are going in their favor. Hopefully, they'll have a healthy Lamar Ball this year. LaMelo. I said Lamar. LaMelo Ball. Hopefully, he'll be healthy this season for them. Miles Bridges will be returning after, I think he's sitting out the first 10 games of this season. But after he comes back, he's definitely an asset. They drafted your boy, what's his name? Brandon Miller. Brandon Miller. I was about to say Scoot Henderson. They drafted Brandon Miller, number 2 overall, who's a prospect who I really like. Like, this kid can hoop. Like, this kid is super athletic. He is very fun to watch. I'm excited about what he's going to do this year. Of course, not against the Hawks, but like, I think that he's going to be a very good rookie. So those three things right there. Last year they just didn't have a lot of scoring. Like, they just didn't have a lot of scoring punches, especially once LaMelo went out. Oh my God! Like, I think I got the numbers here. Last year they were ranked 27th in points per game. Now, granted, 27th wouldn't be bad if there was like 100 teams, but it's 27 out of 30. It's 27 out of 30. That's not good, right? They were 29th in 3-point percentage, and like, this is a 3-point shooting league, right? It's a 3-point shooting league, so that's not good either, So they definitely need some scoring punch, and I think that when you got a guy like LaMelo healthy, he can distribute that thing, he can make it roll, and I think they'll be better. So the Hawks got it. This is no like cupcake like coming into this thing. Like, this Hornets team gave the Hawks fits last year, and this will be a good statement game, the first game of the season. You got to come out guns a-blazing. Like, if you're the Hawks, you have to come out guns a-blazing. That's just the way I see it, man. Like, this Hornets team, you need to take them for real. This is a team that gave you fits last season, and you got to take them for real. So we'll see what the mindset is like. We'll see what kind of energy they come out with this season, right? And what better game than game one, right? What better game than game one? Come out and make a statement for the home team. Well, not the home team, for the Hawks. Three keys to victory, and I'm gonna get out your hair. 3 keys to victory, I'm gonna get out your hair. And the one thing I already mentioned earlier, the first key is this: you gotta take him serious. You gotta play with the chip on your shoulder. Like, you have to play with a chip on your shoulder, because I think that the NBA is such a long season, and to me, it just seemed like sometimes they just didn't have that oomph. You know what I mean? There's a difference between teams that just feel like, oh, it's a long season and we just don't have it, versus the teams that are going to be there in the end. Right? There's a distinct difference between maintaining that energy during the regular season and keeping it up in the postseason. So you got to set the table, man. You got to set the table. These teams that you're technically supposed to beat. I haven't seen the line at the Hawks and Hornets game. I haven't seen the line yet, but I would imagine that the Hawks will probably be favored. These games that you're favored in, you got to win. Like, you got to win. You got to beat them. Like, this is no time to, oh man, everybody can beat them. Yes, everybody can, but you got to win these games you're supposed to win. Period, point blank. So, first tip, got to take them serious. Got to play with the chip. Number 2, got to play a little defense. Got to play a little defense, not a lot of defense. Listen, I'm not even saying that you got to play a lot of defense. I said you got to play a little defense. Just a little bit. Just a little bit, y'all. Just a little bit of defense, man. Just a little bit. I know in the NBA, defense is like passe. No one's worried about defense. Everybody's just like, hey, we just gonna outgun them. The problem is this. Last time y'all got into a gun match with the Hornets, the 27-win Hornets last season, y'all lost 144 to 138. I still remember that game. 144 to 138. There was no defense being played in that game. None whatsoever. You let 144 points. And listen, you put up 138. So 138 is a good amount of points to score, right? Only if you don't allow 144. You can't have that. You can't have that. You cannot allow 144 points. And my thing is simply this. If you're going to score 138, you got to hold them to at least 137. right? You got to hold them to at least 137. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they got to be locked down defenders. I'm not saying Trey's got to be all first team defense. DeAndre Hunter's got to be lock them down, whatever. Nah. But y'all need to play a little bit defense. Just a little bit of defense, all right? That's my number 2 takeaway, all right? Number 3, your best player has to be better than their best player, right? And here's the thing. I call Trey to the table sometimes when it's appropriate. I call everybody to the table because I just call it like I see it. I call it like I see it, right? And it's crazy talk. It's crazy talk to think that Trey should have had a better year last year. But he will probably tell you that he probably should have played better last year. And that's crazy when you look at his stats. But if the Hawks want to take that next step, he's going to have to play better. And not from a statistical standpoint, not from, he had 25 and 15. It's got to be different. It's got to be different. And what I mean by that is like, he's got to be better situation-wise, fourth quarter decision-making, those times where he tries to kind of stop the ball and just kind of does it on his own. That stuff's got to quit. Like, it's got to stop. Like, he's got to be better there, right? And I think he'll tell you he's got to be better. And I think Quinn knows he's got to be better there. That's when you kind of mix in the whole team aspect of it's us, And so I think that's, if you're looking for opportunities for growth, I think that's one for Trey. And I thought that last year, too many times the best player was on the other side of the court, to be honest with you. I thought that happened too many times. And you're Trey, you're supposed to be first team, you're all NBA, like go to work, right? Like, go to work, you know what I mean? And here's the thing, I wholeheartedly believe he can do it. It's just a matter of him doing it. And I think it's just, last year was a lot of changes. You had DeJounte come in. It was just a lot. You had the whole John Collins thing. It was a lot. This year, I feel that he's more grounded. I think that he's in a better scheme to for the whole team to be better, if that makes sense, right? And so I think that he's in a better position to be successful this year. And I think he can do it. I think last year, again, there was just too many times the best player on the court was the other team's player, and you can't have that. Like even in the game last year, when the shootout, when against the Hornets, 138-144, right? Trey had a great game. Trey went for 25 and 14, 25 points, 14 assists. That is an amazing game. That is an amazing game, right? Ask me what LaMelo did. LaMelo, I called him LaMelo. LaMelo went for 30 and 15. You got to be better. Your best player has to be better than their best player. So if I had to pick, I would say Hawks come away with a dub. I'm kind of biased, but that's kind of how I see it. I think it'll be close. It's not going to be easy going into Charlotte and winning that first game, but I think the Hawks can do it. And it would be nice if they really made this first game in the Quinn era. Yeah, I know he coached last year, but this is kind of still like his first game. I think if they made this like a statement game, it'll be really good. I think it'll be really good. But that is my 3 keys to victory. Take them serious. Play a little defense. Your best player is going to be better than their best player, right? So you got to score one more point than the opposite team, right? So that's a wrap, man. I got in and out in 30 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put a bow in this podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, even TikTok for the TikTokers. We even on there trying to do a little something. Follow us and give us a how many followers? Do we have 10 followers yet? We're working on it. We're working on it. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. And like we always say, God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. So if you don't know him, you need to find him. Show him some love, because that is all he is showing you. LOBE love. We out. Peace.